Wow, how about that, folks? Looks like it's time once again to dive into the depths of the paranormal portal. I am your resident lizard people, Mr. Brent Thomas. Now, Grandizer said a common trait of reptilians is the constant need to clear your throat. It's like, man, my whole family's reptilian then, because we got overactive mucus glands. And I might be a reptilian. I don't know. Never know. I don't even know if I am, though, if that's the case. Nobody told me. But there you go. How do I know? Hell, it doesn't really matter. I'm still here doing the show because this is what I love, and I love doing it with all of you guys. So reptilian or not, I'm going to do my best to entertain the hell out of you. So that is my objective. And it's good to see all you guys coming in. John Temperin, Maggie, Wizard Moon, Rachel is here. Grandizer's here. Good to see you. John Temperin, Annie Manul is here. Good to see you, Annie. And let's see, any new names that I didn't already mention? Maybe. I'm just scrolling up because the chatting rolls pretty quickly here on the portal. And no, I think that's everybody. Oh, Chucky Danger's here, which is good because tonight is Saturday night. And we'll be diving into the Discord question of the week following the news tonight. And that is Chucky's project he's been championing for us here on the portal in our Discord community. So thank you, Chucky, for that. You're amazing. And a special thank you to all of our wonderful mods who are helping to keep things rolling here. I know Lucky Gypsy's out there, and she's keeping an eye on both Rumble and the Twitch, as well as Barbara's over there. Good to see you, Barbara, over on Rumble Land. I'm just scrolling up to see if anybody at Lucky Gypsy. There you are. Yeah, I think that's... Oh, Grateful Owl. How you doing? Good to see you. Good to see you. So we got a few people piling in the door already. And then any new people that have said hello since I've been shouting out names here. But it looks like we got everybody still. So Gruntardo, good to see you. Thank you. I've already passed 100 messages. We're just minutes into this. Oh my God. It is a cornucopia of chat fun here. I don't know, Omar. Not currently. Not feeling too gassy. So got that going for us. Thank you, Gypsy, for putting out the welcome to all the Twitch viewers. If there are any of you. So, we haven't been taking over Twitch by storm. We get a few viewers every show, and that's wonderful. It's great to have you guys with us, and hopefully you'll enjoy what you see, and then you'll give us a follow. But if not, never mind. Thanks for giving us a shot. That's all I can ask. But everybody is coming in here. Are you? How you doing? Rue, I guess. Is that Rue or is that RU? How do you say that? But it's wonderful to meet you. Thank you for coming in. I love it to see new names that I've not seen before. And sometimes I just forget the names I have seen. So if I say hi to you and welcome you as a new listener, don't be offended. It's just the cognitive abilities and sketchy recall that I'm working with. So I often forget names. I don't know what it is about names. I have a hard time making them stick in my head. I always have my whole life. It's funny because I've forgotten names of people that I've known my whole life. And just suddenly I'll be like, what the hell's that name? So I don't know what it is. Maybe it's early onset dementia or Alzheimer's. I don't know. But at any rate, it's what I am and who I am. So if I welcome you to the show and you're like, dude, I've been here for like 6 years. Well, oops, sorry. It happens. But at any rate, hey, and you had it right. It's Rue. Okay. All right, good. Okay. Nice to meet you. That's really cool. Omar's here. Good. Good to see you. Okay. All right. So anyway, we are going to get to our Saturday festivities here on the Paranormal Portal. And we're going to dive into all of the fun we can pack into 2 full hours commercial free. So, well, it's commercial free on the live show. I do stack some ads in there if you watch the replay. So my apologies if you're watching this as a replay. But Daddy's got to eat, Can't just eat cardboard sandwiches around here. So gotta get some kind of revenue. Keep the lights on here. It gets to be expensive. All this stuff. It all needs batteries and life. It's all plugged in, God, understand. So anyway, we got a lot going on. Hi, Sherry. Good to see you. Wonderful to see you all here. Pumpkin's here. Hi, Pumpkin. That's a new name to me. I think, again, I'm scratching my head here. Is Pumpkin new? I think Pumpkin's new. So it's nice to meet you, Pumpkin. Thanks for coming in. And hopefully you like it. Hopefully those of you that are just giving this a whirl, like, it's a live show, let's give it a whirl. Hopefully you like what's going on here and you go, you know what, I'd like to be a part of this community. And you'll give us a subscription. And hit the notification bell so you know when we go live. But just so you know, these live streams happen every Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. So not every, because this coming Friday, Saturday, there will be no live shows because I'm going to be on the road. I'm going to be out on the road trying to inform the public at large at a conference about the Paranormal Portal. And that'll be, I guess this is a perfect segue to go into it. In case any of you are in the neighborhood, it'd be great to meet you. Of course, I will be. And if you've been around, you've been hearing this for a while, but what the hell? Repetition is the heart of memory. Maybe I should repeat names like some people do. Like when you go and buy a car, that dude will say your name all the time. Well, Brent, this is what I think about this car. What do you think about this car, Brent? Brent, how many cars you had, Brent? And then they remember it. I say a name once, and then I don't ever say it again. And then I'm like, what was that name? So I'm an idiot. But anyway, I'm an idiot with a microphone. And hopefully it entertains you either way. But this is where I'm going to be. The 26th and 27th, I'm going to be in Pocatello, Idaho. And that is about 8 hours south of where I am now, because I'm in the north tip of Idaho, and I got to go down to the southeastern edge of it where Pocatello is and hang out down there on the 26th and 27th at the Bigfoot Rendezvous. That's going to be a great time. Again, Michael Freeman will be there. Dr. Jeff Meldrum, who, if you're into the Bigfoot and cryptozoology, if you've been paying attention at all, you know who Dr. Jeff Meldrum is. He's a professor of anthropology at Idaho State University, and he's got a hell of a collection of Bigfoot casts, and he's on board with them being out there for sure. He may not say beyond a shadow of a doubt, but he's pretty sure that they're out there based on what he's seen from these tracks and such. and he's been out on some expeditions himself. So, and he's had some experiences. So I think he's on board. But a great guy, incredibly informative. Michael Freeman, of course, is the son of Paul Freeman of the Freeman footage, which to me is right up there with the Patterson-Gimlin film as some of the greatest potential evidence of there being some unrecognized hominids in North America. And of course, it's a global phenomenon. But in North America, it was the focus of Paul Freeman's work. And Michael is his son and has taken up the mantle as his father died in 2003, I think. So it's been a while, but Michael's championing the cause and doing a hell of a job. Now, Nico Spatafora is going to be there. Mark Marcel, David Ellis. All of those are really big names in the Bigfoot community. And as well as Squatch America, which is really cool. So I'm going to be there. I'm not a featured guest or a speaker of any measure, but I'll be there at a table going, "Hey, you ever hear of the Paranormal Portal?" Throwing cards at people as they go by, like, "Here, you take a card." I'm doing hand gestures, and I realize I'm not on camera anyway. But anyway, I'm practicing. It's good to practice. So I'll be there, and if you can be there, that'd be great too. Now, the next conference that I'll be attending, that I know of currently, will be this one coming up in September, ladies and gentlemen, and this is Phenomicon. It's happening in Vernal, Utah, September 4th through the 7th, and it's a hell of an event. I've got the speakers pulled up here. It's a 4-day event, ladies and gentlemen, and they do an incredible job there. Here's the schedules, the agendas and stuff, and you can see it's packed full of fun. There's lots of not only normal events, but you can do add-on events as well. The VIP tickets are all sold out, as you can see here. They were gone in a flash. It's a really well done conference, a very big conference. But you can get the 4-day pass, a 2-day pass, or a single day, and check out what you can. But I'm going to be there as well at a table talking about the Paranormal Portal. So here's the speakers that are going to be here. There's just a ton of really well-known people, really amazing people. I've met several of these through the years of attending. Of course, Dave Schrader I've interviewed and had on the show. Wonderful guy, wonderful person. I really enjoyed him. Thomas Winterton, excellent, really fun guy to talk to about Skinwalker Ranch. There's, of course, Dragon and Caleb, who do the security and stuff at Skinwalker. But Ben Hansen, who has been a regular on TV shows through the years dealing with UFOs and strange phenomena. I've not met him, so I'm looking forward to meeting him. Russ Accord is amazing from Expedition Bigfoot. Greg Lawson's been on the show, wonderful guy. Eric Bards from Skinwalker Ranch. George Knapp, Nick Pope, William Henry. I mean, come on. Travis Taylor, Maria Mayer, and David Paulides of Missing 411. So, I mean, it's going to be a lot of great stuff going on here. So I hope you guys, if any of you can be in the area, again, Vernal, Utah, as Barbara says over in Rumble, it's a well-done event. It really is. They do a hell of a job. I'm here to tell you, it's an exhausting thing to do conferences for, when you're sitting at a table and talking to people all day long. Like, I may talk to about, 3 people a day, and most of them I live with, my wife and my son. But when you're at events, you're talking to people all the time, and it's wonderful. I do love it, but I got to tell you, my social battery is absolutely spent after a day doing conferences. So this will be a 1-day event. The Pocatello one will be a 2-day event. Either one, it'd be great to meet you if you can be there. So just putting it out there. No wonder it's sold out. A lot of top speakers. Yeah, there really is, Grandad. There's amazing people to be speaking there. And most of them are wonderful. I haven't met all of them. I've never met Travis Taylor because, generally speaking, they're still filming their series during this time on Skinwalker Ranch. So they come in when they have breaks in in what they're doing and the things they're working on. And so they're kind of in and out and in and out. They're not really there through the whole conference, but they are really great people, the ones that I've met. Just talked to Dragon last time when I was there, and a really nice guy, really down to earth. So that'll be coming up. If you can make that one, do it. Make it or make this one. But if you can make any of them, I'm looking into possibly some kind of conference over in Tennessee yet this year. When I get anything ironed out for that, I will let you know. But as of right now, I don't know. But I'm working on it. So if you're on the East Coast or in that region, I'd love to meet you there. So, well, but as you know, I'll let you know when I know where the hell I'm going to be. I don't even know for sure what I'm doing tomorrow. So this is my life. Anyway, that's kind of in the laundry right up front, so you guys know what the hell's going on. If you can make it, although my apartment looks like Halloween all year round. Neil, you have good taste. Absolutely. Absolutely. I appreciate your decorating. I've not seen pictures of it, but if it looks like Halloween, I think I'd like it there. All right. So anyway, as I said, we're going to be getting to the news. Had a little hiccup burp thing cooking there. We're going to get to the news first. If you're new to the show, we do the Paranormal Portal news at the start of every show, or the beginning part. And then we're going to get into the Discord question of the week. And again, special thanks to Chucky Danger, who is a wonderful friend, mod, and has been really active on his own podcasts. There's names again. Names. Anyway, Chucky's got a couple of podcast things he's working on. Why can't I remember it? I can see it in my head. I can see their logo, but I can't think of the name. This is my skull. I gotta work on this. But Chucky's an amazing guy, and just been wonderfully helpful with taking this on for the show. So Counter Cult Podcast. Thank you, Maggie. God, why couldn't I remember that? Chucky says, I got electrocuted today. Accidentally touched a live wire and a light switch without a cover, fumbling around in the dark. I've been electrocuted. That's another one of my brilliant moves in my life. I'll tell you about it. It was... I'm actually surprised I'm here, to be honest with you. But I used to own a Victorian home. It was built in 1894 and back in Red Wing, Minnesota. And I love this house. I really love this house. I really miss it to this day. It was just a fantastic place. But there was very, very hard water there, and I didn't have a water softener. So I had an electric water heater. But it was one of those things that with all of the minerals, those elements, especially the bottom one, burn out all the time. You get maybe a 5-minute shower and it's like, oh God, it gets cold. The bottom element's out. So I'm like, oh God. So initially when I was living and being there, I hired an electrician or a plumber to come and change it out. And I watched what he did. And I was like, I can do that. And so I started changing them on my own. Now, if you know anything about water heaters, they're hooked up to 220. So that's a lot of electricity. So I'm like, yeah, I can do this. And I did it. I changed several of these elements. It's not really paranormal, but since the topic of electrocution came up, I'm going to share this with you because it's one of my stupidest freaking things I've ever done. But it happened again. And so I ran down the hardware store after doing it several times myself. I was like, yeah, I know how to do this. I can just take care of it and save myself a lot of money rather than calling in a plumber to do it, which is, expensive. So I ran down to the hardware store, got the elements, got home. And I was like, okay, I'm going to get this done. And I could do it pretty quickly. So I went downstairs. Now, generally speaking, the first thing you do is turn off the breaker, turn off the 220. And then you can go to work pulling out the old one, getting it out of there. Because usually they kind of explode in there. They kind of burst. And there's all kinds of twisted metal. So you got to work it out of there. So anyway, I got it out. I went down, got the new element, and there's water. Like you got to open it up. So I got the wires off the old one, and I got it unscrewed. I had the tool and everything to unscrew it. It's a special kind of socket thing. And hey, Justin, good to see you. So I worked it out, and I'm working out the thing. Now, when you're doing that, I never drained the whole water heater because it was so full of minerals and stuff anyway. It was like, I think the drain was actually all mineraled up, so it didn't work anyway. So it would be like gluck, gluck, gluck. This water is pouring, and that's a cement floor. And so I'm down there, and I finally got it out, and now I'm standing in a pool of water, which is working its way to the floor drain. But I'm barefoot in a pool of water in the cement floor in my basement, which looks like a dungeon because it's an old Victorian house. And so I and then I'm like, okay, well, let's get this put back together. So I got the first wire on there. I got it all tightened up, screwed in tight, and I had this screwdriver, and it was It wasn't like a normal screwdriver that has like a wooden handle or a rubberized plastic handle. It was like an electric screwdriver. So I'm like, I'll do this little Black & Decker home electric one. This is years ago, you know. So I was like, I got the first one in. And then I grabbed the second one and hooked it on there. And I'm holding on to the wire by the insulation. I hooked, there's a bend in the wire to go around the screw, and then you screw it in. So I do that, and I put the screwdriver to the screw on the element, and I wind it in. And as soon as that made contact, all of a sudden it was like my entire skeleton was expanding and contracting. Like there was space between all of my bones, and they were smacking together. It was like, and it dawned on me that I never turned off the breaker. I never did that time. So I'm like, it was like somebody was hammering every joint in my fingers, to my wrist, to my arm, to my shoulder, to my chest, down to my feet. It was horrible. But I was able to get myself, and I got free of it after a couple of seconds. But I'm like, oh my God, I could have cooked myself. So that was when I got electrocuted. No, I didn't see a tunnel of light. I saw visions of red pain and sadness. I was just being jolted like crazy. It was horrible. It's like a mule was kicking me. It's not a fun thing. So remember to turn off your breakers, folks, or just call the plumber. That was my electrocution story. You never heard that before. I think only my cousin in Tennessee heard that one before. I don't think I've ever really publicly acknowledged my stupidity as much as this, but yeah, true story. It happened. So here I am. Hi, Kitty Cattywack. Good to see you. All right, so we're going to get to the news and find out just what the hell's going on in the newsiverse out there within the paranormal portal. Some of it's actually paranormal, but most of it's just interesting. So let's dive into that and see what we got cooking today. Are you ready? It's time for the news. You got it, Annie. Prepare for my jolt of electricity. Oh, Jesus. Kat Doherty says, my dad got zapped when his painting pole hit an overhead electric utility wire. Oh, man, that's a nightmare scenario for sure. But I hope he's okay or was okay. Welcome to the news desk, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for the news here on the Paranormal Portal. And we're going to dive into as much of the strange and weird as we can pack into the news. I got a few articles pulled up for you. Again, throughout the course of the show, we utilize a lot of different sites, and I implore you to please visit these sites. They do a hell of a job, and your traffic does equal revenue. And the reason I use these sites is because, they're incredibly well done. These people are working incredibly hard. They keep them current and relevant, and it's great information. So if it sucked, I probably wouldn't be using it on the show. So please help support these sites. Please visit them and support what they're doing. And you won't be disappointed, because there's so much material on all these sites that we never, ever could cover, even if I did shows every day of the week. All right, here we go. Yeah, Neil, that counts. Getting struck by lightning is... that's a whole lot of juice. All right, here we go. We're going to start with an article from unexplained-mysteries.com. I don't know what this one is. I've never heard of this. It sounds like one we've already covered before, but maybe it's a reissue from unexplained-mysteries.com. But let's check it out. The first one is... Scotland's own Bermuda Triangle still intrigues over 30 years on. I thought we covered this sometime in the recent history. Well, not recent, but maybe in the past 6 months or so, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. We cover a lot of material on these shows, so it's hard to keep track of everything we've covered. All right, here we go. One part of Scotland has become synonymous with strange phenomena, UFO sightings, and other weirdness. Sounds like a place we'd love to go, right, folks? Having served as a focal point for unexplained phenomena in Scotland since the 1990s, the small town of Bonnybridge and Falkirk remains steeped in mystery and intrigue. One of the earliest accounts of UFOs in the region was reported in 1992 by local businessman James Walker, who had been driving along when he was stopped by a mysterious, luminous star-shaped object that was hovering in the middle of the road. The encounter ended when the object flew off at incredible speed. In the months and years that followed, hundreds of UFO sightings were reported in the region, including accounts of alien abductions and people being buzzed by strange objects in their cars. Local counselor William Buchanan has heard more than a few strange tales at this time. One sec. Oh, okay. I'll check that out. Just got a text message pertaining to the show, so we're going to check that out before we're done here on the news. William Buchanan has heard more than a few strange tales in his time. I was in the house one night, and I'd just come back from the council, and what happened is I'd seen a car coming into the driveway, and I went out to find out who it was. He said during a recent Talk TV documentary. It was a chap I've known all my days, and he says, "Is it okay? Can we talk?" The man recounted to him a very odd experience that had allegedly taken place after he'd met a woman that he was having an affair with in a remote location. Oof. Sounds juicy. The next thing is coming into the woods there. Up came these 6-foot black aliens looking in the windows. And then the next thing is he was in a spaceship and he was getting prodded. Buchanan recalled. That's like really instant karma. Oops. He says since that happened, we've had ESP, extrasensory perception, and he says, I can levitate. I've got all these strange powers. Wow. Maybe it's not so much karma. That's weird. As things stand, the man's claims have yet to be corroborated, but it is the sheer number of unusual stories to have come out of the area around Bonnybridge that has made it such a notable location. Even today, people are still reporting strange sightings and encounters there. Exactly why this should be the case, however, remains unclear. Well, I think probably every continent has these similar areas of strangeness. Certainly, Vernal, Utah seems plenty strange in a lot of ways. That might be more of an inland, possibly vergence of ley lines and God only knows what else. Of course, Bermuda Triangle. There's lots of triangles around. There's one, I think, over in Massachusetts. There's one in the Great Lakes region. There's lots of claims. And then you have places like in Arizona, the place with all the portals that is over there. So there's lots of this stuff going on. I got to take off this wrist brace. It's making me sweat uncomfortably in my wrist. And then I'm going to change this around. So, yeah, I think that these things are probably more prevalent than we realize, but we just only acknowledge the Bermuda Triangle. That's the place that everybody talks about, but doesn't mean it's the only place that things are going on. So take for it what you will. I think that there's areas of oddities and weirdness all over our planet, and perhaps even these convergences of some sort where things just kind of pop off. So I think it's fantastically interesting, and it may not be as unusual, but for the most part, a lot of these accounts probably don't get covered really openly. Nobody really talks about it. Yeah, funny for the news. Okay. I can't wait to check that out. I wonder how I can check this out. Okay. Oh, it's good. It's right there. All right. We're going to check that out afterwards. I was just looking at the link that was sent to me. That'll be good for the news. We'll get into that. I'll close out the news with that one. Here we go. So that's the first article. I don't know. What do you guys think about that? You think there's triangles all over the place, or triangles? Maybe they're not all triangles, but they all seem to use the triangle kind of thing. Because, of course, of the Bermuda Triangle. The Bermuda Triangle, if I could speak. All right, next up on the news, we got another article here from unexplained-mysteries.com. And this one sounds kind of interesting. I don't think they're talking about complex life here. I think they're probably talking about microbial life. But, I mean, it is kind of surprising, given that where this is happening is not really regarded as a hospitable place for life to exist. But let's check it out. From unexplained-mysteries.com, and this might be a long article, so we may not read all of it. Let's see, how long is it? Nope, it's just fine. We'll be able to read all of it. Biosignature gases in the clouds of Venus hint at presence of alien life. There you go. And if you know anything about Venus, I mean, I think it got like pretty much like ammonia rainstorms and all kinds of things happening there. It's not a good place. And if you're familiar at all with the story of Valiant Thor, he was allegedly claiming to be from Venus, a Venusian who was coming to our planet to help. Now, it's maybe possible they live underground somehow in some advanced civilization, but there sure as hell ain't any cities on the surface there, because how would there be? It would just be a toxic environment. So, at any rate, interesting. So, let's read this article. Scientists have detected 2 gases indicative of life on Venus, and nobody can explain how they got there. With surface temperatures exceeding 860 degrees. We didn't even cover the temperature. So quit bitching about 100. Come on, people. And crushing atmospheric pressures that are more than 100 times those found on our own planet. The conditions on Venus are undeniably hellish. But while the likelihood of finding signs of life on the surface remains low, scientists have long speculated that primitive life forms could potentially eke out an existence high up in the clouds. Now, it seems that the likelihood of this being the case has been given something of a boost thanks to the discovery of what appears to be phosphine and ammonia in the clouds of Venus. Okay, well, I thought there was ammonia rain or something happening there, but I might be wrong. Maybe it's sulfuric acid. I don't know. These 2 gases are typically indicative of life, and nobody can find any non-biological process that could account for their presence there. Our findings suggest that the atmosphere is bathed in sunlight. The phosphine, when the atmosphere is bathed in sunlight, the phosphine is destroyed, said Dr. Dave Clements of Imperial College London. All we can say is that phosphine is there. We don't know what's producing it. Despite the excitement surrounding the finds, however, there is no guarantee that the presence of these gases in the atmosphere of Venus means that there's alien life there. It will also be necessary to determine that the findings themselves are correct. If they really confirm phosphine and ammonia robustly, it raises the chances of biological origin, said Professor Niku, look at that name, Madhusudan, I guess, of the University of Cambridge. Sorry, Nico, I'm brutalizing your name. The natural next thing will be new people will look at it and give support or counter arguments, and the story will be resolved by more data. All of this is grounds for optimism. If they can demonstrate the signals are there, good for them. Okay, well, there you have it. I don't know how they're figuring this out. I know there's been probes periodically sent to Venus, not many. I think the Russians actually landed one there, and it took, if you ever get a chance, I think it's out on YouTube. You can listen to the sounds and look at some of the images of that probe on the surface of there. But it didn't last long. I think the whole functionality of that probe was like maybe 10 minutes. And then it was baked and destroyed just by that brutal atmosphere. But I have heard the suggestion that perhaps up in the clouds there could be some form of biological life where it's higher up and it's not getting all this hellish experience. I don't know. Where the atmosphere is thinner. Maybe up there it's got some kind of microbial life going on. But who knows? I guess time will tell. There you go. That's the second article tonight on the news. And maybe you didn't know about that, but you do now. All right, I have one more here, and then we'll go to that special article that was sent to me, and I'll let you know more about that in a second after I'm able to pull it up on the fly. I don't usually do that on the live shows, but considering the source, how could I say no? All right. This one has to do with the Bigfoots. Ladies and gentlemen, creatures, myths, and legends is the source category for this article from unexplained-mysteries.com. And this one is witness from Missouri claims to have communicated with Bigfoot. There you go. I think this is interesting. Can Bigfoot communicate via ultrasound? Well, we've heard of mind speak. There's, of course, infrasound. I don't know. What is ultrasound? I don't know. I mean, obviously it's used as a diagnostic tool in medical field, but is it possible to communicate via ultrasound? I don't know. Let's look into it. An audio clip detailing a man's alleged encounter with a strange creature has recently resurfaced online. The short clip, which comes courtesy of the Bigfoot Society podcast, was recently reposted by KHMOAM 1070 before being picked up by other news outlets. It details the experience of a man from northern Missouri who claimed to have not only encountered Bigfoot, possibly outside his own home, but to have even communicated with the creature. And I said, we don't have to be scared of each other and that we could live in peace, he said. I told him I didn't want to hurt him and I didn't want him to hurt me. He hit me with the infrasound and it hit me hard. It made me physically shudder. And I don't know if there's a telepathic component to it or not. But what I felt is you could feel it go through your body. You didn't hear nothing, but it was like the anger, fear, hatred, and doom all rolled into one directly at you. His comments are certainly intriguing and imply that the creature not only exists, but that it also possesses the ability to communicate through infrasound, a sound with a frequency beyond that of human hearing. It's actually, I think, under human hearing, not beyond. Well, I guess beyond is either way. While there are some mammals capable of utilizing ultrasound, well, it's infrasound. Like, this is bats would be maybe an ultrasound. For instance, there are no known apes with this ability. Of course, whether or not the man's story is even true at all remains a matter of debate. You can listen to the clip for yourself below. I don't want to air that because I haven't talked to those guys about airing their material on my show. So even though this is news and it would qualify as fair use, I just would rather have their blessing before I play that. But I'll put the link in the chats and you guys can check that out for yourself. All right, here we go. There's the first one. Let me put it over in Rumble here. And you guys can check it out. I mean, it sounds interesting. I've not heard this interview, so I don't know what the meat and taters of this is at all, but interesting stuff. So there you go. Now give me a moment while I pull up what is next. Because we're going to see. We're going to see what this is. Let me pull it up first, and then if I can actually pull it up successfully, then I'll give you the background on what just happened here. What was it called? All right, let me refresh this. It might be brand new. Okay. Dun, dun, dun. I'm just trying to find it. Is it a... Yeah, it should be here. All right, it might be down a little bit. Maybe I didn't see it when I've been... Oh, here it is. All right, so to give you a little background on what I'm pulling up now, I just got a text message from Wes. Wes, of course, of SasquatchChronicles.com. And he said, here's one for the news. So let's check it out. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and check this out. We'll see if it's good or not. I'm just gonna see. This is posted July 14th. Funny news, I'm not a cat. Makes me laugh every time I watch it. I'm not a cat. Lawyer gets stuck on Zoom. I think I did see this. On Zoom kitten filter during court case. A lawyer showed up for virtual court in the 394th District of Texas with a kitten filter turned on and the cat moving its lips and eyes. As Rod Panton said, he and his assistant were attempting to remove the filter during the court case. The judge later posted this snippet and wrote, "If a child used your computer before you go join a virtual hearing, check the Zoom video options to be sure that filters are off. This kitten just made a formal announcement in a case in the 394th. Here you go, folks. Yeah, this one's been around a while. And this is hilarious. I just love this video. This is great. So check it out. This is coming from Guardian News on their YouTube channel. So here you go for your video entertainment. It's posted on Sasquatch Chronicles blog. Here's the video. This is so funny. It's so hilarious. I don't think I have a soul because I'm laughing, but it's hilarious.
Mr. Ponton, I believe you have a filter turned on in the video settings. You might want to
we're trying to. Can you hear me, Judge?
I can hear you. I think it's a filter.
It is, and I don't know how to remove it. I've got my assistant here. She's trying to, but I'm prepared to go forward with it. I'm here live. I'm not a cat.
I can see that. I think if you click the up arrow next to this.
It's funny that the freaking filter is actually talking as if it's a kid looking around. That's hilarious. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure to check your Zoom for filters. If you haven't seen that, you're welcome, but you got to thank Wes for that because he brought it to our attention here tonight to be used on the news. God bless you, sir. All right, so there you go. That is so funny. Imagine that's so hilarious because it automatically brings down the temperature in the room. It's already incredibly stressful to have anything to do with court. It's just, oh God, I've been several times, due to, custody hearings and stuff like that. And it just melts my soul every time. I wish somebody showed up with a cat filter in those situations. That is just hilarious. So there you go. You may not have seen that before, but now that is healing, making others laugh. Thanks, Grandizer. But again, you got to thank Wes. I can't take any credit for that. I just laughing because it's funny. It's just funny. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this has been the news. I hope you're leaving the news with something a little fun and some great information. So, and you're more informed than when you came. And if so, you're welcome.
Detail.
Ghostbox says detail. Barbara says there's a lot of us that don't have souls now. How's that for a little slice of fun, ladies and gentlemen? There you have it. Thanks again, Wes. That's hilarious. All right, we are going to continue on with the show because we've got a lot more to cover. And now we're going to be diving into a category, a segment of the show that we only do once a week. We used to do it every live show, and it just got to be a little much. So we're cruising it now every Saturday. And, of course, I'm speaking of the Discord question of the week. That refreshing snap of plastic every time. We're going to be getting to the Discord question of the week. Ladies and gentlemen, we do have a Discord server if you're not familiar with that. And if you look at the show's description, it's listed in there. I'm not going to keep retyping it every time. If one of the mods wants to put it out there, great. It's just discord.gg. Well, it's https:// discord.gg/paranormal portal. And that's our Discord server. And when you go there, you'll be greeted to something like this. Oops, not that. That's not that time yet. I got to remember to turn that off. Okay, there it goes. But this is our Discord server. And it's time, ladies and gentlemen, for the Discord question of the week. All right, ladies and gentlemen, not only do we have a Discord server, we have a great community over here. In fact, if you're new to the show, thank you, Maggie. Oh, hold on. Ooh, a little sneeze. Sorry. I'm going better. If you're using Discord at all, please, love to have you join up. If you like the chats here on the live shows, many of the same people that you're talking with are over on our Discord server, and the conversations are pretty incredible. Just wonderful, wonderful people. There's a lot going on our Discord server. There, of course, is discussion threads over here on the left panel. If you're not familiar with using Discord, first thing you want to do is click the Discord tutorial, and there's some video links. Use your mouse wheel to scroll up and check out the beginner's tutorials that we have here to just kind of show you how to use Discord. It's not hard. It's just unusual, I think, for a lot of people. So if you want to take some moments to familiarize yourself with Discord, that'll probably help you out in the long run. But we have a giveaway section here where I try to give away a t-shirt every month. Had to take a break from that for a few months just because, it costs money. So, but we'll get back to those as soon as we can. Of course, up over here to get to these different chat threads, just click on them with your left mouse button. And this is the question of the week. We're going to get back to this, but when you first join, you'll be in the general here, and it'll say, hey, so-and-so just entered the Discord, and you'll get lots of messages from people welcoming you and such. But here's episode discussion. These are discussions about things we're talking about on the live shows as they happen, and our wonderful community will continue to post things in there. There's a Bigfoot thread. There's a Dogman thread. There's a Ghosts thread. There's a UFO thread. There's extraterrestrial encounters. And there's cryptids and even music, which is really cool because there's a lot of eclectic tastes of music out here. And I've picked up a lot of new bands that I'd never heard of just from what people are posting. So check that out. That's a lot of fun. Then we got Strange Phenomena, which is a lot of different things like Mandela effects, time slips, etc. And then Paranormal Library, where people recommend books. Paranormal Movies, where people recommend movies. And then there's the Art Gallery. People make art and post that up here. Some really cool things. People doing AI stuff, actual sculpting. Rachel did some 2 haunted mushrooms plucked from an ancient graveyard. Those are wonderful. Very well done. And Paranormal Humor, which we can always use more of. So if you find anything paranormal and funny, by God, post it here. But also, if you are somebody that crafts things and you want to make what you make available for people to check out or even purchase, there's a portal marketplace right up here. And there is opportunity for you to post if it's clothing stuff, if it's crystals and jewelry, or if it's miscellaneous, or if you need a category created in here to encompass what you do, let us know. I love that you guys post stuff in here and let people know where to get it, how to get it. That's Love Rocks Company. They're wonderful with David Barnes and his lovely lady making wonderful stuff. And then there's miscellaneous sales. So lots of people are posting things over here. We have an incredible amount of incredibly creative people in this group. So that's available to anybody that's a member of the Discord. You don't have to run it by us as long as it's appropriate. If it's inappropriate, please, I don't want self-pleasuring tools on there or anything like that. So just keep it nice and family friendly. That's all I ask. So we're going to get to the Discord question of the week here. And those mushrooms scare me. They whisper. That's a little frightening, Rachel. You don't have to make them. All right, here you go. Chucky Danger comes up with today's question of the week. And we're going to dive into this now. And the question for this week is, plenty of people report being able to lucid dream, and even a smaller amount of people report the ability of being a dream walker. Do you think it's possible for two conscious people, rather, to be able to take part in the same dream? What are your thoughts about controlled dreaming? Oh, I think that's fascinating. If it is possible, and I don't know, I really haven't heard many claims about that. I've heard plenty of people, including myself, having encounters with departed loved ones in my dreams, and those are incredibly healing and cathartic in a lot of ways. But I don't know about being able to actually meet and talk to somebody in a dream. If that's possible, that's wonderful. I think that maybe that's kind of dreaming, kind of astrally projecting, but it's incredibly interesting. So let's see what everybody had to say about this. And the first up is John T. He says, sure, why not? If they get on the same cosmic plane, anything is possible anymore. Well, fair enough. I don't know how you get on the same cosmic plane, but if you can manage it, yeah, sure. Maybe it's, energy follows intention, they say. So that could be. You just got to make it your intention to meet somebody, and maybe you will. Eric the Wandering Purple Hobbit says, answer of the week, of course, it's possible. As the Purple Hobbit always says, there is just so much we don't know about so much. I had, quote, dreams, unquote, when I've felt the wind on my face, the grass under my feet, and met people I didn't know. Months to years later, I meet them or see them in real life. Well, that's incredibly profound, yeah. So maybe it's, part of your soul contract or whatever, that these are people you're going to meet, and so you're doing a little preemptive conference there or something. Andy Manul comes up next and says, for me, it depends on what you mean by being controlled, what you mean by a person, and what you mean by being conscious. I knew two people who had the same dream, of being experimented on by the Nazis, but it wasn't something they set out to do. That's not controlled. Does a dream count if it's only in a sleep lab or solicited on purpose? Then there's what you mean by a person. Plenty of people dream about meeting non-human entities in their dreams. Shamans have trance dreams and meet non-humans who counts as a person in a dream if they're clearly sentient and not human. What's consciousness when it comes to dreaming? There's varying levels of sleep and not just dreams in REM sleep. Do two people need the same level of intent and brainwaves in order to participate together in a dream? I honestly don't know. There's a lot we don't understand about consciousness, let alone dreams, and how they interact with the world. Yeah, fair enough. There's certainly a lot of blanks that can be filled, and it's possible that by granularizing it to that degree, you might be overcomplicating it. And I'm not being critical at all, but I know that when our logical mind gets in the way of our spiritual consciousness, they don't always mesh, because you can't logic the illogical. You can't break it down in granularity, because we just don't understand. Maybe there's a time or a possibility in our future that we will be able to make these things make more sense in a scientific nomenclature, but currently we just can't. So I think going back to what I was saying before, it's like energy does follow intention, and you don't always know why, and usually we don't know why. But if you focus on it and if you believe in it enough, the belief is that the energy goes to where you intend it to, and you can, and I'm not being critical, so please forgive me again, but because you asked some incredibly profound questions. But I wonder if just by virtue of the faith of doing it, the faith in doing it, that you can do it and it can be done, if that doesn't circumvent a lot of the trying to articulate and quantify it in terms that we understand. So, and maybe it's impossible to ever do, but those are great questions. I just, I don't know. Grandizer comes in next and says, song to introduce this question on the stream. Yeah, I don't want to get copyright strikes, so I can't play that, but It's Mr. Sandman, which is a good choice. Very good choice. Barbara Mora comes in next and said, I do think two people can share and communicate within a dream. I've had lucid dreams as an older teenager and found it compelling. As an older adult, I'm able to be aware of my deep sleep breathing while my mind is dreaming at the same time. Oh, that's pretty incredible. I hope this makes sense. I'm not sure if my answer applies to the question, but it's my experience. As a young person, I hoped and imagined that technology would be invented far in the future where dreams can be watched on a monitor. I still think it's a big possibility. There is apparently technologies that are emerging to do just that. I think they're being developed in Japan right now, as far as what I've read. But I think it's kind of frightening, personally. I don't even, usually I dream really weird stuff, and I would be concerned if somebody was watching that going, what the hell is going on in this guy's head? I don't want anybody tuning into the mess in here. It's already tough enough for me to focus on it. But great points, great questions, or great points. Neil S. comes in next and said, years ago, some friends of mine and I would try to meet in dreams. We would choose a place to meet in our dreams, and then before going to bed, we would meditate and think of each other and the place we were supposed to meet. Oh, that's fantastic. If we did end up dreaming about the place or each other, we would write the dream down and we would wake up and then meet later to complete the notes. So we wouldn't influence each other while describing the dream. I think it was mostly a subconscious suggestion before going to bed, and I would often dream of the place, but usually not my friends being there. However, a couple of times we did dream of each other, and when we compared notes, there were some eerie similarities in our dreams. So I guess my answer to the question would be, yes, two people can consciously take part in the same dream. And as for what I think, it's cool. You should try it. I also think it can also be closely connected to astral projection. Yeah, I would agree with that for sure. Because, the differentiation is like probably tissue paper thin. Like there isn't a lot of difference maybe. Rachel 101 comes in next and says it could be possible to share a dream. Maybe with two people in shared meditation over a number of years, or with help of organic mind-expanding substances, a connection could be created. Controlled dreaming, I'm not sure of. I've experienced hearing a podcast I've had playing while I sleep in my dreams, and it seems like it was being spoken by people in my dreams. So I guess my dream was controlled by an outside force. Yeah, good point. I get sometimes an email or two here and there throughout the history of doing this show where people have told me they fell asleep listening to my show, and whatever I was talking about, they would dream as in real time, as if I was orchestrating their dream. And it's like, wow, that's pretty intense. I think they decided they weren't going to listen to my show when they fell asleep anymore because it was terrifying. All right, coming up next is Karen Alberding. I go through spurts of lucid dreaming, and as of late, I'm having them nightly. Oh, that's cool. I don't know if they're are shared or not, though. It seems that my daughter Heidi and I have lucid dreaming at the same time, so maybe we're having the same type of dreams or even the same. I haven't asked. We just talked about the fact that we're doing a lot of dreaming lately and remembering them. We also think very much alike without realizing it, so I don't know. Probably it's possible and has happened many times to people who are psychically connected. Yeah, I mean, that's great points. I had one dream, as I mentioned, I've experienced loved ones coming to me that have passed in my dreams. It's happened many times. That seems to be the best avenue for them to come to see me. Just to recap a little bit, my dad passed a few years back, and it was exceptionally hard for me because, again, my dad and I had a real challenging relationship in life. We're both very stubborn people and both very, I guess, set in our ways. And so we bumped heads a lot. And, you know, I know there was a mutual love between us, but there was also a mutual animosity between us just because, you know, it was like, God, that guy just won't let things go. And maybe I didn't let things go either. But at any rate, when he passed, I was all the way out here in the north tip of Idaho. And of course, he passed back in Minnesota. And right away, you're confronted with the idea that, God, everything I should have said, everything I could have said, but didn't. And now I got to eat that for the rest of my life. Like, there's nothing I can do about that. And that was really a brick in my heart, because it's like, God, you know, I don't want to carry this through the rest of my existence. And I don't want that to be his memory of me. You know, I would hope that, you know, he could see me different and stuff. So it's just one of those things. And I was really depressed by that in a sense. But then the first time, the first dream that my dad appeared in was more real than me sitting here doing the show. And that's all I can say. So it was an incredibly lucid dream, but it had every sensation of being awake and aware. I could smell, I could see, I could feel everything going on. And it was just so vivid. And he was there. He was standing in the room. I was in his house suddenly. And I was standing kind of by the dining room table. And I looked to my left in the living room, and there he was standing there looking at me. And it was there. I was there. It was in that house. It wasn't just some facsimile or representation of it. It was like I was there. And I saw him, and I said, Dad. And I don't remember him actually talking, but he talked to me. Like, his mouth never moved, and he didn't form words, but he was talking to me. And we had a moment of healing and reconciliation that was beautiful. And it was so powerful. And I wrapped him into a hug, and he hugged me, and I could feel him. I could smell him. It was him. He was there. It was just like as real as me hugging my child now, or my wife. It was that intense. And it was, and I finally woke up, just, you know, tears rolling down my face, because it was like, and it was so healing and powerful. Now, he came to me in several dreams for a while. And one dream, I was in that same dining room, sitting down, and Dad was next to me, standing up, and my mom was there, and my older brother was there. Not the oldest, but the older brother was there. And we were having a conversation, and it was so real. Like, all of us were talking, and I'm not going to go into what was said. Again, Dad never said anything, but he was part of this discussion. But it was just as profoundly real as any experience I've ever had in my life. And I woke up excited, and I called my mom right away. And I fully expected her to say, wow, wasn't that amazing? But she didn't remember. I fully expected that I was going to call my mom, and she was going to be able to say, wow, wasn't that incredible? Or, you know, that we could talk about the experience we just had. I mean, it was that real. And the conversation was that real and organic. And yet nobody else was aware of their being there. So were they actually there, or was that my mind's representation of them or something? I don't know. And I can't possibly articulate or even ponder that. I just can't know. But I can tell you that the experience was so real that I literally woke up. I was like, oh my God. And I called my mom, and I asked, did you have a really powerful dream last night? And she's like, what? I was like, I had a dream. Were you there? Or did you remember this? And she's like, no, I don't remember anything like that. I was like, oh, I was so disappointed. So I don't know what that means. But anyway, I just thought I'd share that. Dreams are messed up sometimes. Yes, Joseph Crow, because I've had some really stupid dreams. And I there's another thing with dreaming that I think is powerful. I think dreams are incredibly important, and they may very well be, I don't know, indications of our multi-dimensional reality, because I think we are multi-dimensional. I think we are. As much as we attribute that to aliens and to Bigfoot and ghosts and whatever. I think we are multidimensional, and perhaps these dreams are us experiencing another version of ourselves in another circumstance in life. I'll tell you that, for a long time I was trying to really focus when I was falling asleep, because it was weird. I would have these strange dreams. I was like, what's going on? And I was able to really dial it in to the point that I could feel when I was opening up, my mind would just open up. And suddenly there was conversations going on that just out of nowhere, like it was in the middle of a conversation about something. I'm like, huh. And then I remember like seeing glimpses and knowing that was my home, and then seeing people and knowing they were my friends and loved ones. And it's like, I don't know any of these people. What's going on? And so perhaps I was just, tuning into my mental processes of whatever dreams are. Maybe it's us just handling a bunch of weird information and just processing it in some kind of way in order to organize it or whatever. Or maybe I was getting glimpses into these other versions of us. So I think there might be something of that, or something to that. Shared dreaming is really trippy. Have you done it, Chucky? Have you had an experience like that where you've met someone or had conversations and were able to corroborate that with them? I'd be interested to know if any of you have, actually, because I think it's incredibly powerful. And I used to understand lucid dreaming as it was a different color and feel from other dreams. And I guess it's actually when you actually control your dreams. Yeah, I mean, I've had many lucid dreams through the years. And as soon as I became aware of it, the first thing I would do is fly. I'd just start pushing off the ground and then I'd be flying. And it was so cool. I loved it. It doesn't happen often enough, but it was amazing. And every time I became aware of lucid dreams, it's like, oh, I'm going to fly again. And it's just this incredible feeling. But yeah, Isaiah Love says, I know about some of it. Yeah. It's like rows and rows of huge black boxes and desolate planet with purple lighting. Then Chucky tells me about black boxes in Egypt. Oh, so that's part of a dream. And then I dream of huge shopping mall. Never bought anything though. Yeah. I mean, just some pretty incredible stuff. So I think traditionally we've been kind of told in our modern age to just discard dreams. They're just the nonsense of our subconscious minds. And I can't say that they're not, but I can't believe that it would be such an integral part of our experience and it would just mean nothing or very little. It seems to have incredibly profound impact. And then you look at prophetic dreams and things like that, I think it was, who was it that talked about seeing people in dreams? That was Eric the Wandering Purple Hobbit said, he'd meet people and then meet them months or years later. It's like, wow, that's very prophetic in a sense. So, and of course there's Edgar Cayce, the sleeping prophet that would dream and make these incredible, depictions and descriptions of things that were yet to come. So Christ says you're dual citizens of heaven and him, and there are many rooms in our Father's house. It's spiritual access to heavenly realm. Certainly. I mean, there's that. John Temperance, I even had to Jesus once to help get out of a dream. Oh, you called out to Jesus? Sure. I mean, there's some horrible dreams that I've had that I'll probably never go into. It was during a time I was wrestling with something pretty freaking dark. But I can't tell you the imagery and the things that I saw and the horrors that I was subjected to, but it was absolutely a nightmare. Literally, in the truest sense of the word, some of the most horrible things that I've ever experienced, but it was a dream. And it's one of those things you wake up, you go, oh, thank God. Oh, thank God it was a dream. Oh, God. Now, there is nightmares, but there was a lot of other things going on in my experience that I was like, yeah, it's got to be correlated. But you never know. Anyway, it's maybe my own way of filtering my own experiences. Who knows? But terrible stuff. But dreams are powerful. Don't discount them. I think that, if our loved ones are trying to communicate with us, I think probably the easiest way for them to do it is through our dreaming state, because it's when this world is shut off for us. We're not distracted or pulled into, 50 directions or being, our noses to the grindstone kind of thing. When we're sleeping, we're free. and that's when we're most open. So, and it's certainly where I've experienced that communication, and I believe it's real. But, come to your own conclusions as always. Don't believe me or anybody. Trust your heart, trust what's true in your soul. But anyway, interesting stuff. Thank you again, Chucky. You did a great job. Great question. Dreams are something we don't cover nearly enough on the show, but they are incredibly profound and fascinating. So, Brent, I got addicted to OxyContin with the things that I asked about. Sorry and thank you. What? I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, that was a terrible. What? Oh, I ended up, my chat jumped, so I read part of one. I got addicted to OxyContin. I was on for years. I quit cold turkey and fought demons day and night. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, certainly addiction is its own demon, and I mean that sincerely. Like there's been many people that deal with spiritual conflict that say that these chemicals have a consciousness, and that it's a very diabolical thing. I don't know. It could very well be. So I'm just glad you made it through. Thank God for that, Big Mac. Good to see you. So anyway, but that's my thoughts on that, and thank you so much for you all sharing all of your thoughts. That's phenomenal. I mean, it's just great ideas and insights and wonderful stuff. So this has been, ladies and gentlemen, the Discord question of the week. Woo-wee. Well, there you go. Discord question of the week. Let me turn off that so we don't get another one at the other end of the show. When we get into the next segment, which is coming up now, because we got to do it. It's 8:16 already. How the hell did we get here? Dream interpretations do seem to be helpful in uncovering the subconsciousness. Yeah, for sure. And I'm not invalidating the subconsciousness, but I don't know that it's I think we're so wrapped in our conscious mind and egos that we oftentimes just consider the subconscious this background noise. But I don't think it really is. I think it's part of our entire consciousness, but we just don't integrate it like maybe our ancient ancestors did. So it's just kind of this part of us that does its thing behind the scenes, and perhaps that's part of, I don't know, being holistically activated in the sense that you are able to tune yourself to work in I don't know what's the word I'm looking for. To work in harmony with all the parts of yourself, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And that's a pretty esoteric, flowery kind of way to put it. But, I certainly think that, in our Western ways of thinking, we're not taught a lot of this stuff. We're not taught a lot of things that our ancient ancestors did know and practiced. And I'm not saying that the ancients knew everything and were way ahead of us, but I think in some ways they were, and in other ways they aren't. We certainly are appearing to be more technologically advanced than ever before, but that may or may not be true, as we've discussed on other shows, but before whatever resets wipe things out. But, we are largely unaware of a lot of our experience just because we've not been taught to be. And I think that that's a lot of what's going on now with this emerging drive for conscious awareness. And it seems almost global. Like everybody's like, I need to understand this. We need to understand in order to, possibly conquer ourselves. So we're not just these reactive, automatons of our environments, that we can learn how to program and manifest our reality. But in order to do that, you've got to first conquer yourself. It's not like you just go, well, I want to manifest $1 million. Well, first you got to, clean out your luggage and get integrated and stuff. I think, it's kind of the Secret thing, which is, that program, The Secret, which is not anything new and revolutionary. Those are a lot of old ideologies and concepts that have been kind of pulled together into this one, program, if you will. But interesting stuff. I think dreams can be spiritually, prophetic, or personally, completely banal. Like anything, you can hone your abilities to connect through your dream state. Yeah, I think you're right, Neil. It's great take. Ron the Sage says, dreams also let us deal with our fears and desires. Sure. Certainly. And that would be more of a, probably a deeper function of our subconscious mind. And, it doesn't have to be subconscious. It just, with our awareness states, it is subconscious. So, anyway, just some great thoughts. But I think dreams are a very powerful topic to discuss. And there's a lot of truth to be gleaned, and a lot of, self-help and awareness in coming to terms with all these facets of ourselves. We're just supposed to wake up, eat nutritiously, get some exercise, do a job, pay your bills, and then get enough rest. That's kind of the focus of our modern worlds. And, consume whatever entertainments you can with whatever time is left. But there's so much more to our experience that we don't need to be just, again, with your nose to the grindstone. We got to live. We got to remember how to live. And that's what I think has been lost in our modern age. We're existing. And we end up being reactionary and trying to find some kind of balance or reason in this chaos of our modern world. And I think the only way to do that is to start getting real introspective and learning about yourself and learning who you are, like throughout your entire holistic being. Sorry, I don't mean to get preachy, but I got a microphone, so you get to deal with my preaching too. But anyway, great thoughts, everybody. Thank you so much. And we're going to get to the next part of the show because it's going to be a Lulu. We're going to go right to the cryptids, folks. It's time, ladies and gentlemen, for the Cryptid Corner. Let's do it. Let's do it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the Cryptid Corner. We are diving into all things cryptid creatures and other strangeness. So, there you go. What is this? Won't you let me live, Marge? Won't you let me live, Marge? Sorry, I had to go all Homer on that when you said Marge. That's what Killing Reality says. All right, here we go. Big Mac needs a PBJ. Peanut butter jelly. It's the food of champions. All right, we're going to get into the Cryptid Corner now, ladies and gentlemen. And this is going to be a few articles from Phantoms and Monsters tonight. Again, this is Lon Strickler's site, an incredible site full of thousands of encounter stories with different strange, weird things. And if you're a fan of all this paranormal, supernatural, Fortean, then you're going to love this. So check out Phantoms and Monsters. Check out all of their research efforts. They also have research teams look into a lot of these phenomena like Dogman, Bigfoot, Mothman, etc. And learn about Lon's published works, which you can get a hold of through here, as well as information on Lon's podcast, which is Phantoms and Monsters Radio. And you can find that right here on YouTube. If you're on YouTube, just look for Phantoms and Monsters Radio. So, first article from Phantoms and Monsters. Special thanks to Lon for his blessing to use this site. Comes from Tuesday, July 16th, 2024. Unexplained encounters while living near Skinwalker Ranch. Again, if you've not been, if you go to Vernal, Utah, that's in the Uinta Basin, which is where Skinwalker Ranch also is. Now, the Uinta Basin is not a small basin. It's a pretty large area, but that whole place is chock full of strange and weird. There's UFO reports all the time, lots of hauntings, lots of reports of the strange and unusual, and seems to be a kind of a literal hotbed. Maybe it's one of those triangles. Maybe there's a Uinta triangle cooking there. I don't know, just saying. But it's something to think about. Let's get into this article and find out just what the authors were experiencing here. A listener recalled an incident that he and his family experienced while living at their ranch near the Skinwalker Ranch property in northeast Utah. Very strange incident. Yeah. Again, I did research around that area as well with Jaron and Roman and Don and I. Jaron and Roman, of course, are the hosts and creators of Supernatural Station podcast, and their family owns property over there near Skinwalker Ranch. And we had a hell of an investigation. There's some really cool stuff. Here we go. It says, "Hi, Lon. I happened to listen to an older interview you had about the Skinwalker Ranch and some of the strange things that have been known to occur there. I have been familiar with the general area for quite a long time. I lived near Roosevelt, Utah, when I was a boy. My family owned land south of town. I suppose we lived about 3 to 4 miles from the current Skinwalker Ranch and Bottle Hollow. And this was during the 1950s, before the reservoir was built in the hollow. Sometimes we'd look east at night and see weird lights coming from the hollow area. One night I remember watching a ball of white light with a long tail moving along the eastern horizon and then reverse course and go back the other way. My father called it a spirit light and said he would see many in one night when he was a boy. The most shocking and memorable incident I experienced happened on my 12th birthday, which was in September of 1959. Our family was sitting out behind the house enjoying the evening. We had a small party earlier and the last guest had just left. I had received a refracting telescope as a gift from my parents, and I was eager to try it out. The sky was clear and full of stars that evening. As I scoured the sky, I heard what sounded like men talking. The sound was coming from a gully on the east end of our land. And as I listened, I noticed my father walking towards me. He had a very fearful look on his face, like he'd seen a ghost or something. All of a sudden, there was a loud whoop sound, and then another. I looked back towards the gully and was shocked to see 3 tall, white, human-like figures. The only description I can give is that they were very thin, with long arms and legs. Their heads were human, but looked more animal-like as we watched. They were standing still and looking directly at my father and me with shining black eyes. Then the one on the right raised its left arm and pointed in the direction of the hollow, the area near the current Skinwalker Ranch. My father yelled out, "Leave us be!" And the creatures crouched to the ground and disappeared. When we got in the house, my father and mother sat me down at the kitchen table and told me that these were the spirits of the dead Ute warriors who were killed by the Spanish and buried in the hollow. They also said that these spirits protected the sacred native lands and used magic from the heavens to scare their enemies. My parents were very aware of these traditions, even though they were not Native American. As I grew older, I started to realize that we know very little about the spiritual world and that we know less about the people who lived before us. The radio show was extremely informative, and I will continue to tune in. Lon says, I was pleased to receive this email. Maybe there is a Native American connection to the anomalous activity. Yeah, I think there is. I mean, of course, there's long traditions of, that's why it's called Skinwalker Ranch. It was the Utes were the main tribe, but the Navajo were also there, and there was actually conflict between the two, and that's why the Skinwalker curse came about from the Navajo, who were pissed at the Utes, so they allegedly cursed the land. So that's the background that I understand about it, but that's pretty freaky stuff. But having been there and having heard reports, having heard from people who live there, as well as people that have seen things there, there's no doubt that there's just a ton of stuff going on at Skinwalker Ranch. Ton of stuff. So I don't know what you guys think about that, but that does seem to be one of those areas that's absolutely chock full of activity. Maybe it's the perfect storm of some kind. There is a concept or an idea that perhaps the basin itself, the Uinta Basin, was formed by a meteor impact thousands of years ago, or tens of thousands of years ago. I don't know how long ago, but that can certainly raise hell with the geological energies, I'm sure. Maybe a lot of gateways or doorways get opened up after a meteor smashes. You never know. But definitely a very cool place, though. I do like the vibe down there. But I'm kind of into all the weird and spooky. So there's a YouTube channel that has transcendental meditations. They're quite simple. Basic instructions, then you listen to a tone. It's about 25 minutes long. Oh, very cool. Yeah, if I could get 25 minutes uninterrupted, I would be absolutely amazed. My meditations are more like 30 seconds. All right, so that was the first article in the cryptid corner, but let's go to the next one. Here we go. This one kind of sounds like a Thunderbird report, but it's being tagged as a huge black prehistoric looking bird closely observed in Lake County, Illinois. Any of you from Illinois? Y'all familiar with that area? Anybody? I'm telling you, that's the beauty of it, is that, there's no one area that has a lock on all the strangeness going on. There's some areas that seem to have more than others, but this stuff can happen wherever it wants, whenever it wants, however it wants. So we just seem to be the observers, but it's pretty crazy. There we go. All right, let's check out this article and see what you guys think. Again, from phantomsandmonsters.com. Huge black prehistoric looking bird closely observed in Lake County, Illinois. A witness contacted me about a sighting of a huge prehistoric looking bird that literally blocked the sky in front of their car while driving near Round Lake Beach, Illinois. It's in Lake County. Lon says, I received the following account. Dear Lon, after reading your recent post, I wanted to share our encounter with you. Back in summer of 2002, during the late morning to early afternoon, we were driving south on Highway 83, leaving Round Lake Beach, Illinois, Lake County, going towards Gray's Lake, when we were startled by something large and black crossing in front of the car and landing in a small open area of brush to our left. One wing easily filled the entire view ahead of us. We saw that one huge black bird had landed next to another one, and that they were devouring what looked like a small deer or a large dog. It was just for an instant, but they were prehistoric looking and larger than most local turkey buzzards. We watched the evening news thinking that some large vultures may have escaped the zoo, but we saw no mention of any such creatures, and we often wondered if anyone else had seen anything like these large black birds in northern Illinois. Thank you for posting the article and letting me know that I wasn't the only one who saw this. And Lon says, pterosaur, thunderbird, your thoughts? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's not a lot of description, but apparently it looks similar enough to a buzzard to be confused for a buzzard, which I wouldn't know that a pterosaur would look like that. I think pterosaurs, or pterodactyls anyway, seem to resemble herons in a lot of ways. Again, I've been sent photos of people saying, I think I saw a thunderbird, here's the picture, or maybe a dinosaur. And they sent me a picture, and I'm like, no, that's actually a heron, like a kind of a fishing crane type of creature. But when they fly, if you look at the depictions of what we think pterodactyls look like flying, and then you look at a heron, it does look surprisingly similar. So I think that, then they're a pretty good sized bird. I mean, they're not tiny. So I don't know. I guess this is where this Round Lake is, and that's where they saw it. But again, the weird part about this stuff is, so these large birds pop up, but where do they go? Again, I don't know if they are some kind of dinosaur bird, then are they, how are they here, first of all? if there was like a time slip or some weird portal opening, that as soon as they hit our atmosphere compared to their own, the oxygen level, all the gases and stuff would be completely different, and they probably fall unconscious almost instantly, or at least very quickly after arriving in our atmosphere, because it's not like the native atmosphere of what the dinosaurs was like. The oxygen content was so much higher back then. So I don't know. So I don't know about this whole dinosaur thing, unless it's some weird multi-dimensional hybrid kind of thing, some possible sustained throwback to those that is very, very exceptionally rare. I don't know. Again, if something does fall dead, let's say if it was some undocumented large raptor of some kind or bird that fell dead, it may never be discovered because there's a lot of wilds around, and nature is incredibly efficient at breaking down deceased animals. I mean, whether it's insects or predators or scavengers or whatever. I mean, things destroy carcasses in a hurry. You might find a jawbone or something, and most of the time, people would see a large bone and go, that's a large bone. Not everybody can look at a bone and go, well, that's obviously thoracic vertebra from a mule deer. I mean, what the hell would we know? We're not biologists, so most people just see bones and just, well, there's bones, and continue on. So it's possible people have stumbled on the remains of several of these undocumented creatures, cryptids, if you will, but they just look like bones, so unless it looks really significant difference, nobody's ever going to say a thing because they just don't know. I wouldn't pretend to know, so I'm not being critical. It's just most people wouldn't be able to identify bones, and I'm one of them. So, at any rate, there you go. Interesting though. Let's go to the next one from phantomsandmonsters.com once again, folks, because wait, there's more. All right, here we go. Iowa woman's alien encounter followed by sadness and grief. This is a new one that Lon posted. He posted it over on Paranormal Portal fans page. That's one of our, I don't talk about it much, but it's a group that I have on Facebook. So if you look for Paranormal Portal fans, I'd love to have you over there as well. It's not a huge community, but it's a great group of people. It's pretty quiet though over there, so it'd be nice if got a lot more activity popping. Iowa woman sees an alien encounter, or has one, so. But then I don't know what the sadness and grief is. Let's dig into this and find out. An Iowa woman describes her encounter with an alien being in her bedroom. She seems confused by what she's experiencing and feels grief after the incident. Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure you're feeling a whole flood of things. If that's your first experience and it's in your bedroom and it's an alien, are you serious? Hell yeah, you're going to have a flood of emotions. The following account was forwarded to me. Hello, sir. This encounter occurred back in 1993. I've only told my family about it. I was living near Sioux City, Iowa at the time, and I was asleep on the second story of the house facing the backyard. I was asleep but felt like I was underwater. All the sounds were muffled. I felt total peace and contentment. I felt warm and safe. And I opened my eyes and saw a small, slightly glowing alien. He, and I say he because I felt the alien was male, was pulling a long, red, thin, firm strand out of my left elbow. His graceful fingers were extra long and thin, grasping and pulling. He was pulling out the strand smoothly in a rhythm that was methodical and gentle. He was not touching me in any way, only pulling out the strand. I gazed slowly into his face, and his face was at the same level as mine as I lay on my back in the bed. There was light from the moon shining through the leaves of the branches in the backyard through my window. My bed was located right under the picture window, which had no drapes or blinds. My backyard was massive with tall old-growth trees planted in rows, so there was a canopy over the backyard. Each night I went to sleep looking up through those treetops. He glowed in the moonlight slightly. I don't recall any smell, and the sound was muffled as if I were underwater. His eyes, his large dark eyes, were without pupils. But I was not afraid, and it was as if I had seen him before and knew him. I knew that he would not hurt me. I didn't notice any nose or mouth or ears, but he was without clothing or any hair. All of a sudden, I began to feel confused, maybe a little afraid. I broke my gaze from his and began looking at those long fingers again, steadily pulling the long red strand out of me from my left elbow. Then the strand broke, and I looked back to his face with a question to ask him. At the same time, he turned his face to the strand, and he turned his face back to me. I felt worried and confused. I wanted to ask him something, but I can't remember what. Before I could make a sound, he just stared at me and was gone, as if he were never there. I sat up in bed and looked up at the moon through the canopy, and then I remembered the strand and went slowly to the bathroom to check my elbow. The strand was red, the color of blood, but it wasn't bleeding. There was no cut or scar I could see on my elbow, and I went slowly back to bed and I thought of the face of the alien, and I cried myself to sleep. I felt so lonely, so abandoned, so sad, as if someone I truly love had just passed away. Someone who adored me too. Even as I commit this experience to the written word, I am weeping. I still feel that sadness of missing him and feeling so alone, so lost, grieving. Am I hopeless? That's a strange one. I wonder what that strand could be. I mean, of course, you think, is it energetic? Is it just, was it sucking her life force out and it looked like a red string? So I don't know. Father Brent. Really? Where are you getting Father Brent? I'm not a priest. I'm no priest. I'm just a father of my own minions, but doing the best I can there. But yeah, that red strand is curious. And what is the relationship that had formed between her and this strange entity? I don't know. This is one of those weird ones that it's hard to, even try to conceptualize what any of that means. I mean, was it, if the strand didn't break, was it just, was the end of the string her lifeline or what? And it was like, dang it, the string broke. So is that the I don't know, is that a representation of the connection? I don't know. Strange stuff. I mean, that's how my mind works. I read these things and I try to understand what does that mean? What is that symbolizing? And there's just no way to know, but my mind just goes crazy thinking of the possibilities. Ron's getting tired. Well, good night, sir. Thanks for being here. It's good to see you, brother. Good to see you. Very strange. Yep, the strange red string being pulled by an alien. But the after fact of it was her feeling like whatever it was severed their connection, is what it seems. Like whatever that red thread was, that it was gingerly and adeptly pulling from her elbow was somehow their connection. I don't know. Very weird. But again, maybe it was a dream. Maybe it was a very lucid dream or a symbolic dream, but hard to say. All right, we're going to go to another one because there is more. We got about time for another one. It's 8:43 already. Wow. This one's a new one, and it was one that I looked at the other night, and I was like, huh. But I kind of passed on it, but I thought tonight, well, this is definitely a cryptid. Sounds like a cryptid to me, and there's a depiction. I think, I don't know how Lon does these, but they're really exceptionally well done, this artwork that he uses. Very good. But it's a scaly bear-like part alligator chimera encountered at Arizona Pond. Scaly bear-like part alligator chimera. Sounds like man, pig, bear, or whatever that thing from South Park was. It was man, pig, bear is real. Hey, you guys. There you go. Let's see what it says. A couple in Arizona are night fishing in a pond when they encounter what they describe as a scaly, bear-like, part alligator creature. What did they encounter? Man, bear, pig, yeah. I don't know what this would be, because then again, this is one of those cryptid one-offs. I've never heard another report of another bear-like, part alligator creature. Sometimes you hear reports of like this man-gator kind of thing in Louisiana, some kind of gator man. Some people actually call it the loup-garou, but I think that's traditionally a wolf-like man. So I don't know what the alligator version of that is in Louisiana, but could that be somehow related? Let's check it out. Hi, Lon. I was wondering if you could give me your thoughts. My fiance and I live in the mountains of Arizona, and we went night fishing at an old fish hatchery. Now, privately owned ponds. Now they're privately owned ponds. Tonight, or it says tonight, okay. Period means the end of the sentence. I got to remember that when I'm reading. All right, we were there for a couple of minutes when we started to hear some rustling around the pond next to us. Well, at first I thought it was just an elk. We'd been there a couple of days before. There were tracks in the mud on the shore, but my fiance was worried that it might be something else, so he made a fire to try and scare it away. Well, after a while, the rustling stopped and we just relaxed. Well, not long after, we heard a huge splash from the other pond. We thought that maybe it was a mountain lion or bear had jumped in trying to get some of the fish. As unrealistic as that seemed, but we never heard any more splashing, and it was very unlikely that there was a fish the size of a full-grown man in the pond next door. We didn't hear anything. After that, for a long time, until suddenly, there was another huge splash in our pond, but I couldn't see where it had come from or what had made it. I was starting to get creeped out, and the fire was dying out, and we wanted to leave, but my fiance wanted to stay and fish some more. We could hear some more rustling in the reeds near us, and suddenly my fiance just started packing things up and dousing the fire and told me that he was ready to leave. We had left the car up by the highway by the gate and had walked all the way down the dirt road through the meadow and past some other ponds to get to where we were fishing. So we still had a way to walk before we would hop the fence and be back at the car. Every couple of seconds, he would look behind us and then start walking faster. He told me that he thought there was a bear by the ponds and kept looking back and getting more panicked and walking faster. I was too chicken to look back at what he was obviously looking for. By the time we were almost back to the car, I was practically jogging to keep up with him. And he was making comments like, "Once we get over the gate, we'll be fine." When we finally did make it to the car, he kept looking back over at the meadow and acting antsy until we were driving back home. When I asked him what he'd seen, if he'd seen the bear, he replied, "I don't know what that was, but it wasn't a bear." He proceeded to tell me about the animal he'd seen and that he looked right at him, and while he stood on the edge of the pond, and he described it as being as big as a bear, but looking like a half dog, half crocodile mutation of some kind. He said it looked scaly and that they had looked at each other right in the same moments, and the creature had almost all black eyes. He also said that he felt like he was being studied by it, like it was very, very, very smart. We were a little ways away from the ponds when he started looking back and walking faster, and he said that at first he saw the thing sitting on top of the hill by the pond looking at us, and this freaked him out, so he started walking faster. When he looked again, it had come down the hill and was still looking at us, making him walk even faster and tell me the bogus lie about the bear. He knew very well what a chicken I am and that I wouldn't look back. When he looked again, it was in the field, still far away, but still following us. The next time he said it was on the road behind us, walking like a cat does when stalking its prey. And this is when he started making comments about getting over the gate and freaking out over the lantern because it was starting to dim. He's a scout, and I guess the theory is that if you have light with you, it will keep most everything away. I've never seen him so freaked out before, and I didn't know if I should think that he was just seeing things, but he swears up and down that what he saw, whatever it was. So we came home and looked up giant alligator dog sightings and came across the Doyarchu. The description of it sounds amazingly accurate to what he told me on the drive home, and we kind of freaked ourselves out wondering if the second splash in our pond would have been its mate. I do believe that he saw something tonight. He's also sworn that he's never going back out there again. After my parents laughed at us, they suggested that we go back in the morning and look for tracks, but he flat out told me no. I know this probably sounds just like a crazy story. Doriarchus are supposedly mythical creatures from Ireland, as I understand it. I just don't know how to explain what he swears he saw and felt like it was going to eat us. Yeah, that's definitely not what you want to be. Being on the menu, I think, sucks. Yeah, that's a crazy thing. I was just going to look at Doriarchus and see what this link says. I don't care. What? By a blogger has not been checked for spam. God, I hope it's not a virus. Maybe I should do this. Open in private window with Tor. Oh, I've never used Tor. I guess we can try it. What the hell? We'll see how this works. That looks great. Okay, well, there you go. I'm not sure what the hell a Doriarchu is, but I'll have to look it up. Doriarchu. Okay. Whatever it is, that's kind of what they saw. The elusive bark kraken, maybe. I wonder if Cryptonaut podcast has spoken about pull-offs. I don't know. I'm of Celtic ancestry and Scottish, Irish, and we don't pinch women because they're taught to punch back. Yeah, don't pinch no women's. No, that's a bad thing. You could get smacked pretty hard, I think. But anyway, interesting stuff, whatever the case. So I've never heard of a Doriarchu before. Again, I know there's some alligator-ish things that are sighted in Louisiana. I don't know of any others outside of there, though. It's always kind of part of Cajun lore, as I understood it, but doesn't mean it's not based on something. It just, that's usually the source is those people out in the swamps that are seeing things. And granted, there's probably lots of things out in those swamps that we aren't real familiar with. There's lots of things wandering in those dark woods, folks. Always be careful. That's my takeaway. It's an otter dog cryptid. Oh, okay. That's a Doriarchu? Okay. Well, my link wasn't going anywhere. I don't know why. What if I just click it once? I mean, we read it, right? What is this? Now, I'm not getting nothing. It's not giving it up, whatever it is. I had one more, but I think we don't have time for it. Hi, Lisa Marie. Dragon chicken. What's a dragon chicken, Big Mac? Harbinger of good news. What's the good news tonight, by the way, Big Mac? Harbinger of good news. Is it having a Big Mac is good? That's kind of cheap. That was kind of lame. Sorry. I don't have anything real creative or humorous to say to your name, but being a harbinger. Bearcat, otter, or otter, man-wolf. Yeah, why not? The Dobarchu. Never heard of a Dobarchu. There again, I mean, there's so many regional names for lots of this Basilisk dragon chicken. Yeah, I think that's the new menu item at KFC, Rachel. It's their spicy wings. It turns into a brick of molten fecal matter. I don't know. That was gross. Sorry. That's all I got. I don't know. Anyway, we've about reached the end of our journey tonight. Again, please watch for the podcast. It'll be coming out on Monday, and watch for the video podcast. Hopefully hopefully I'll get the Spotify video podcast working. I didn't have any time today to work on it. I don't think I'll probably have much time tomorrow, but hopefully throughout this next week before I take off to the pod or the conference, I'll be able to figure out why we're not seeing video on Spotify. But until then, you can watch the video podcast episodes here on YouTube and on Rumble. And I don't know if they're getting uploaded to BitChute or not. I haven't checked that. BitChute doesn't, I don't stream live there, but that's certainly it's supposed to get updates from the other sites. So I'll have to see if they're there, but I know they're on Rumble and YouTube, so you can watch them there. But the audio podcast is, of course, available everywhere. If you have Pandora, Google Play, iTunes, Castbox, Stitcher, and Podbean, etc., just about I think every platform out there, we're on it. So please look for the Paranormal Portal wherever you listen to podcasts, wherever you listen to like Sasquatch Chronicles, just do a search for Paranormal Portal. Got a lot of great episodes. Done some pretty amazing interviews that are bucket list interviews for me personally, just to meet some of these people and talk with them, get their ideas of what's going on. But all of the interviews are incredible. I've just always been really incredibly honored that so many people have reached out through the years of doing the podcast to tell their stories. And that means any of you out there, if you have stories to tell, paranormal experiences, please reach out to me. You can do so by emailing me at paranormalportalradio@gmail.com, or you can go to paranormalportal.net and click the interview me button, and it'll launch my calendar app, and you can pick a date and time that works for you if you want to come on the podcast and tell your story. I'll start over and watch this and binge watch this channel tonight and in the AM. Oh, thank you, Lisa Marie. That's wonderful. Thank you so much. But I'm always looking for more guests. So if you have stories, or you know someone that does and wouldn't mind sharing them with me, by all means, encourage them to reach out to me as well. I just love diving into this stuff, and hopefully it's a pleasant experience. I've never had anybody tell me they hated being on my show and being interviewed was the worst choice of their life. People have been very gracious and wonderful, and I'm very honored that they chose my show to do it. So at any rate, the new podcast will come out on Monday. Hope you guys will check it out. And other than that, there will be a live show Wednesday, but not Friday or Saturday. So next weekend, you're on your own. But if you need a portal fix, I can only tell you, if you head to youtube.com and you look at our back catalog, there's like 1,600 episodes or something like that out there of the Paranormal Portal that I've been doing since 2017. And you can see all kinds of different transitions, different studio setups, different bad mics and bad cameras, and lots of technical issues, but I've still plugged away at it because I love doing it. So if you want to go check it out, you can get your portal fix and it's like a time slip into the Paranormal Portal when you watch those old episodes. So you can join me there, and I'll be waiting for you to tell you some more stories and have more discussions and probably a lot more stupid comments for you. So that's what you tune in for, right? This is the stuff you keep coming back for. So God bless you for that. I appreciate you guys being here. Thank you so much, everybody, for being a part of my journey, and I'm honored that you tune in. Great show, Brent. Thank you, Karen. I appreciate that. I left a GIF on Discord. Okay. I'll look for that later. I don't know if that was for me, Renee, or not, but I'll look anyway. But just remember, we love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other. Help each other out. Find the magic in every day, and remember to laugh as much as you can. Again, go to paranormalportal.net for all things Paranormal Portal. All the social media links are there. All of the, different channels that I am broadcasting on are there. Information about the podcast, some background information on the show, and hopefully enjoy it and visit back often. I'm trying to think of ways to expand the paranormalportal.net to include a lot more information, but I've got a lot of things to iron out here, so I'm doing the best I can, I promise. But anyway, that's all I got for you tonight. Take care, everybody. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend. Be safe, be wonderful, have fun, enjoy yourselves. Stay cool if it's really hot where you are. I know there's a real heat wave coming here. Apparently it's going to break 100 over here on Sunday, which is tomorrow. So it's going to be a real balmy Sunday here. So at any rate, that's the deal. That's the show. That's what we got for you. And I'll see you on Wednesday night, everybody, 7 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So whatever that means to your time zone, sort it out. And I'll be here. But if you need more Portal, check out the back catalog. Check out the 5 other completed episodes or seasons of the podcast that are out there. Several video episodes from the last 8 shows, I guess, 8 podcast shows. I've been doing video podcasts as well. So those are available here as well. So anyway, that's all I got. Love you guys. And until next time, be good. We'll see ya.